And notice what parts of your body are touching the floor or your chair. Or maybe you've got your back against something, so feeling the support there. And noticing what would help you to feel supported today just in the process of taking information in. Like, is there anything else you need in your space? And then just for a moment, either through your torso or just energetically, feel the sensation of lifting upwards a bit. Maybe through your chest, maybe through the top of your head. And as you do that, just bringing to mind what your intention is for you personally today. What would you like to bring into your life? That would help you feel more at ease? And then if it feels okay with you, you could notice your breath going in and your breath going out. And you don't need to change how you're breathing. You're simply feeling the sensation of your breath. You might even begin to soften your breath. And then as you're ready, if you've got your eyes closed, you can just begin to open them. Okay. So does anybody ever have trouble like feeling the sensations in their body? Yeah, it's really common. It's hard to it can be really difficult to feel, like, to go in. Often I'll ask people, like, what are you feeling in your body? And they're like, I feel sad or I feel happy. And that's an emotion, right? But where do you feel that actually in your body? Does that make sense? Does anybody else have a little trouble with that sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Some people are more attuned to it. If you've done a lot of like yoga practices or meditation, you're used to exploring it, but it's really common to not. And especially with stress and trauma, we want to get out of our bodies, right? Because the body is really uncomfortable, so we escape it. It's a normal survival mechanism, is to escape the sensations of the body. So to begin to heal those, right, to begin to kind of complete our survival, kind of our trapped survival responses, and we'll get into what that is, we've got to very gently start to be able to feel in our bodies and feel the uncomfortable stuff as well as the comfortable stuff, right? So first, though, we want to establish the comfortable stuff, like how can I get regulated? How can I feel safe? And then you start to explore the other stuff, okay? So the first step is like just developing a language of sensation. Like, how do I describe what I'm feeling? You know, and there's a piece in this handout. You don't have to look at it, but you can if you want to. It's the first page, and it's just called Felt Sense. And I put it up at the screen, you guys at home, if you can see that. And it's just the language of sensation, and you can look at it now or you can look at it later, but I'm going to read some of them. So it just gives you ideas to try to develop the language of sensation, like, for example, trembling, knotted, contracted, expansive, flowing, relaxed, right? Like all cold, hot, different things that you feel, okay? And this is all about establishing this felt sense. So the reason why yoga can be helpful in this is because we do these things, we do these positions, and you can feel them in your body, right? It's like, oh yeah, I feel that, I'm stretching, or my hips feel tight, or, you know, and those are body sensations. So as we start to do this, we're going to explore felt sense for a little bit and just trying to tune in to what you're feeling, okay? So let's stand up if you're comfortable. You could also stay seated if you don't want to stand up. If you guys at home, I'm going to leave that on the screen for you, okay? And we're going to do just some rhythmic motion. I'm going to give you a few ideas, okay? And you can choose some or you can skip them, whatever you want to do. This one is just bouncing. So it's just like you're on a little mini trampoline. And just bounce, 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 bounce. So we'll keep going just for like 30 seconds or so. And then pause. And your eyes can be open or closed. Just notice the sensations that you feel. You might notice your breath come in and your breath go out. Like for me, I just feel my heels kind of grounded to the floor a little bit more. Anybody feel anything from that? Yeah, any tingling? Sometimes I feel tingling after I bounce a little bit. Yeah, so bouncing is great because it not only moves around all of the fluids in your body, but it's rhythmic movement. And rhythmic movement is awesome for trauma and stress. It just kind of gets you moving. It's like when you, some of you have had babies and some of you haven't, but you know when you bounce a baby, right? You just kind of bump, 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 bump. That's why it's like being in the womb, right? So it's this little, and yeah, it might not be easy, but it's like, oh, can I bounce? You got to kind of bend your knees. Yeah, that's it, Heidi. You got it. Okay, here's another one though, because that might not be your favorite. It's just like swinging your arms, right? So this one, you know, you can come up. So what I'm doing, I know I'm little on your screen at home, but I'm just coming up on my toes, and then I'm bending the knees and swinging my arms back. Yeah. And so sometimes for you guys that work with people as patients or clients, sometimes when you find someone really overwhelmed, if you can get them moving, it just, even big body movements like this, it can help. Okay, and now just pause when you're ready. Anybody want to call out what they've experienced sensation-wise? Tingling? Yeah, me too. My fingers. A little lightness? Yeah. Like a buoyancy kind of feeling? I love that feeling. I'm not getting that one yet. I love that one. Anybody else? Oh, yeah. You could feel the stiffness or tightness. Yeah. You guys didn't say anything. Okay, they're still doing it. I love it. Still doing it. She's shaking. Shaking's awesome too. So you ever shake? Shaking is an awesome one. I have my kids shake because you're just like trying to get stuff out of your system. Just shake it out and then pause and you notice. So you begin to feel like, oh, look how quickly I can change how I feel, right? So I can change my experience, but just by doing a movement. And that's a cool thing because you're like, oh, I'm not actually stuck. Things are changing. Things are moving. Other rhythmic movements, just like in working with patients and stuff, can be anything. It can be music. It can be dance. It can be drumming. You know, like literally anything that has rhythm to it is really helpful for stress and trauma. Tossing a ball. So I'll have my trauma patients, sometimes we just take a ball and just toss it hand to hand. So then it's crossing the midline and it's bouncing or tossing it to each other like a beach ball, nothing that's difficult to get, right? That can be helpful too.
Is that kind of the idea behind like the little toys that they have for kids, like those little like spinners and
Yeah.
like a reorganizing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I love that word, reorganizing. So she said reorganizing, and that's exactly what this somatic experiencing work is. It's about reorganizing the nervous system, right? Kind of like getting it back and regulated. Absolutely. Okay, should we sit down again? Let's sit down again. But any kind of rhythmic, so those are just some ideas. This one, if you guys can look at this in your handout, this one here, it's below that felt sense. It's CYBAM is what it's called. And it's on that second page. And so we're going to use this in this next activity. And so CYBAM is just an acronym, okay? I had one patient that wants to call it Simba because she likes the Lion King. So you could switch it. It doesn't matter. You can call it Simba if you like it better. So basically, these are different aspects of your experience, of our experiences, right? So the S stands for sensation. So we've already talked about that one, right? The I are images. So images are often memories that pop up in your mind or things you're thinking about that are just images rather than thinking mind, right? But they can also be metaphors, dreams, even something that you're seeing in the room, like an image that you're seeing. The B is behavior. So this is like things you're doing, like, oh, when someone talks to me that way, I go like this, I open my eyes wide, or it can be I'm twirling my hair when I'm thinking about that. Any kind of behavior that you do. And I'll talk about when they're linked too. Affect is emotions. And meaning are your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments. So all of these things are happening, right, all the time. And so we can track our experiences in any of these areas and stay present, right? So it's not like, oh, thoughts are bad or anything like that. They're present and they're part of what's going on. Yet, sometimes it can be like, sometimes these things get coupled with each other, overcoupled. And in order to heal, we have to break them apart. So for example, I might have the sensation of my heart racing and the feeling, the emotion of anxiety. And then my meaning might be like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed and stressed, right? And so does that have to be that way? Could I get a racing heart and instead be like, it's okay, I just have a racing heart. Everything is okay. I don't need to be overwhelmed, right? So you can tease things apart. Sometimes it's more linked than that. Like when I drive in a car, I get anxious. Does that make sense? And so we don't want to get anxious every time we drive in a car. So we start to tease those apart. So to begin to do that, we start to just pay attention to each of these areas in our experience. Sometimes they're also undercoupled. For example, I have some clients that don't have the experience of feeling excited or joyful, right? They just don't have that. They're checked out from that because ever since childhood, they weren't allowed to have big emotions. So they've tamped themselves down and never done that before. You know what I mean? So it's like we want to bring that in. We want to bring in, oh, I just had this great day. I can allow myself to feel joyful. I can embody a sense of joy. Yeah? Just chime in if you have any questions or anything about that. So what we're going to do is this resourcing exercise. And you guys at home too, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. Somebody says here, stressed about the condition of the world and our country in particular. Yeah, I think that's pretty common too. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, so this is a resourcing exercise. Anybody know about resourcing or heard of that before?